Hi everybody, how are you going? If we haven't met yet, my name is Brooklyn and it's really nice to see you. Today I had to come on and share with you something because I'm just so full of excitement about it, honestly. I've been learning about quantum physics, and you see, when I was growing up, in my family, I guess, my siblings were considered to be really super bright, and there were other plans that were made for me, and so I never really thought that I would be the type of person who could wrap her head around stuff like this. But you know what? This year I decided I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to face my fears, and I'm going to do what I thought would be a difficult course. And I have to tell you, I'm just loving it and learning so much. And it's a course about quantum physics. And it sits with me so well because of my passion for manifesting and with my background in psychology. So a lot of this stuff really jigsaws together and marries so nicely. This whole idea of being able to choose your reality, to create your own reality. In psychology, we learn that you can do that through your thoughts and through your beliefs. So it was really lovely to learn through quantum physics that there's also actual science behind this as well. And if you don't know what quantum physics is, the simple version that I like to think of it like is it's this idea that infinite types of realities exist for all of us, okay? The types of realities that we exist are absolutely limitless. And that is really, really cool. What happens is we create our reality by the way we process and perceive information from the world around us, and we get that information from our senses. And there's this really cool statistic that we receive 400 billion with a B for Brooklyn, pieces of information from our senses every single second, but we only process or analyze or make use of about 2 million pieces, which is nothing. It's nothing. Anyway, and our perceptions and all of that sort of stuff, if we head back over to psychology for a minute, of course it's based on societal norms, conditioning, programming, reinforcement, modeling, what we've been exposed to, culture, language, all of those sorts of things as well. So this idea, though, that it's possible for us to experience lots of different realities and that they could all be happening at the same time, to me is just mind-blowing. But then the other thing that I learned, and I mean, to some of you this is probably going to be obvious, so excuse me, I'm just catching up. But this whole idea that you can think something into reality. Now, I believe that from what I understand about manifesting. I've been understanding and learning and studying, all of the natural laws and the universal laws that govern the way that we live. And so hearing about this too from a different perspective was very, very interesting. So in psychology, we believe that, you have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. There's also even an unconscious mind. So there's this idea of consciousness. And then we see that in quantum physics as well, that they also believe that there's consciousness. And so I love that because it made it so much easier for me to understand. And so consciousness is this idea that, the whole universe is consciousness and we have consciousness in us. And this really aligns very well with what I know about manifesting. We say that, the universe is out there, or spirit, or source, or God, or in quantum physics it's called unified field theory, but we're all talking about the same thing. We're just calling it something else. But all of those areas as well say that yes, just while it's out there, it's also in here. And the really amazing thing about us as people is that we have the ability to imagine things. And it's through the power of imagination, through accessing that part of our conscious mind, that we're then able to what I would call in my spiritual work, manifest something, what we would call in quantum physics and quantum reality, we would call it, creating something or summoning something. And really simple examples are everything that you can see around you. My pen was an idea in somebody's mind. That idea then caused waves to move about, and those waves bumped into other waves, and then next thing you know, somebody's setting about taking action to make a pen. So what's happened is the pen has gone from an idea in somebody's mind to a thing out here in the world. Somebody manifested this pen, and that's really, really cool. The other thing too is that I don't have to have an idea myself to invent my own pen. If I don't have one, I can set about working, if I put my spiritual hat on, I can set about working to manifest a pen in my reality. And so what I might do is I might activate the vibration of what it would feel like to have a pen. So maybe it feels like, I don't know, like I'm well equipped. So I'm going to activate the feeling of being well equipped, and I'm going to take aligned actions. I put myself in positions where I'm likely to come across a pen or something like that, and then I'm going to forget about it. And then what's going to happen is sooner or later, bada bing, bada boom, pen. Okay, so I think if you haven't had a chance yourself yet to look at quantum physics, you will absolutely love it, especially if you're like me and you're really into manifesting, you're really into universal laws. Don't be scared by the title like I was. It's not that scary. It's really interesting, and it really just helps you have a new framework, a different perspective for things. And so while I've been studying all of this and running the 2 businesses and stuff and coaching and goodness knows what, put together courses, I am trying to actually apply what I'm learning. So I have been doing my own sort of experiments where I have been trying to use unified field theory and quantum physics to manifest things into my reality. And guess what? It's all going really well. And I'm going to do an update, and I'm going to show you like before and after, so you'll get to see everything. It's just been so cool. The other thing though is when you're researching quantum physics and you want to do a little course or something like that, there are some really fun, exciting experiments to do, but you also have to still be a scientist, I think. It's very easy. Like I think I was Alice in Wonderland in another life. I love all of the quotes from Alice in Wonderland, and I love this whole idea of the rabbit hole, and I love leading people down it. Not everybody wants to come, that's okay. But I love exploring all of this stuff and having these really big conversations. But yeah, I have lost my train of thought. That's okay. I will put up when I finish doing my experiments, if you're interested, I will share my findings and share my results with you when they're over, which is in about 20 days. But yeah, there's something interesting too. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, be a scientist as well. Like, use your judgment. If you see something that you think is really cool in terms of the quantum physics experiments, always go and check it out and make sure that it's legit. There was one that I really loved the idea of. It was a Japanese, I think they call him a pseudoscientist. I think he's not really a scientist, but I think he liked to think he was one. But I think he had good intentions. Anyway, so I like him. And I think his name was Fujimoto Mato. I will get the name for you so you can have a look. That's not important. What's important is that he did a series of experiments, and he wrote a number of books all about what happens to water when you put your good intentions onto water. And so he was saying that if he said that he had 50 agar plates, and he put water on all of the agar dishes, and then he divided them into 2. On one, he did on one half, so on 25 he did nothing. They were the control group. On the other 25, he put good thoughts only, okay? And then he wanted to see, after he froze the water, what the difference was, if any, between the control group and the group that had all the good thoughts put onto it. And he shows that all the water ones just look normal, and all of the ones where he'd been putting loving thoughts, kind thoughts, stuff like that, all of that positive energy onto those ones over here, they had all turned into these really, really beautiful looking crystals, like tiny, whiny little snowflakes that you could see under the microscope. And he has a very famous experiment where he put positive intentions. He had one word was thankful and the other word was love. And he's got photos of these two crystals that were generated, he says, as a result of putting loving intention onto these agar dishes with the water. But it's something, I don't know if people have been able to replicate it since. I haven't really looked into it, but I think it's just a beautiful story, and I love the idea that somebody wanted to try and see if they could change the world by changing their thoughts. And that brings me on to something else too, which is called the random event generator. And the random event generator experiments are also really fun to have a look at. But basically, they're little machines that spit out, oh, look, it's 444. That's a good manifesting number. But anyway, I'll keep talking. So they spit out binary, so ones and zeros, ones and zeros, ones and zeros. And so there have been lots and lots of studies done of people who were just using their mind to set the intention of making more ones than zeros come out. And what was happening was they were able to do that. And the scientists believe that this also gave more evidence to and credibility to this idea in quantum physics that you can change the world around you through your intention, through your thoughts. And there's been a lot of research done as well with these random event generator machines and Zen monks meditating and being able to get the machines to spit out, more ones and zeros and vice versa. In fact, if you really want to come down the rabbit hole with me, there have also been numerous examples where people have been able to change the ones and zeros after the ones and zeros have already been produced. It's a whole other thing. It's got to do with the presence of an observer changes the behavior of what's being observed, which demonstrates that consciousness is responsive to us. It's a really simple way to think about it is, my dog Gabe, if I'm watching Gabe, he's going to behave one way. If I'm not watching him, he's going to do his own thing and behave however he wants. Okay, that's a super simple way of thinking about it. But how to think about what this sort of stuff might mean for your business. If you have the power to change an outcome of something by focusing your intention, what could that mean for your business? What could that mean for the types of clients you get to work with? What could it mean for the fees you charge? What could it mean for your visibility? What could it mean for how you cultivate and nurture and nourish relationships with your audience? What could it mean for your branding? What could it mean for all sorts of things? It's fascinating. But anyway, I love talking about this stuff, and if any of you are interested, I would love to talk with more people about it. And if you want to set the intention to create something yourself, maybe an idea you've had percolating for a little while, maybe it's a podcast, I'm just saying. We've got a podcasting course. The doors are open now, and the course starts on the 13th of November. And I'd love to have you there. As a founding member, it's only $97, and then in December it goes up to $197. If you enroll in November and you bring a friend, then you're both going to also get a free podcast coaching session with me. And, it doesn't just have to be about podcasting. We can talk about spiritual stuff too, if you like, or manifesting things for your business, or more serious business strategy. It's your hour, up to you. Anyway, guys, I will let you go. Thank you so much for indulging my discussion today. I would love to hear what you think too. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.